Yo, what's up? This is Rodney MC Shakie Roussell. And I'm burning some hot dogs. So um, I decided to come live to read the book as a thank you to Sip Nation and all my sippers who love and support me and each other. Um, it's a very much thank you. I appreciate y'all so much for supporting me. Though Deserve to Be Loved was my first novel that was written based on me, my life, and a true story. It is fiction because I did change some things out of respect of some of the people that's in the story. I will enlighten y'all on what some of the changes were, but not all of them, because I have to keep it like that for those purposes. And dealing with matters of sexuality and stuff like that, I did have to change some of the things. But the core of the story is very much so true. The the love that I experienced in this story is very much so true. I actually wrote this story while I was in prison. I did get it published while outside of prison, which I did all myself. It's been published for about a year, and it's available on Amazon, Amazon Kindle, and whatnot. So let's just get right into it. So this is Deserves to Be Loved by Rodney Roussell. I will start by reading the thank you, the back. And it says Rodney Roussell is a resident of New Orleans, Louisiana, where he works as an MC. He has a passion for music. He wrote Deserves to Be Loved while incarcerated. He's a survivor of prison rape and advocates for its end. It says Deserve to Be Loved is the coming of age story of Rodney, a black 18, and Mike, his on the down low lover. Set in the brutal backdrop of 90s era New Orleans, it follows the star-crossed lovers as they discover not only each other, but the tenets of their own sexuality. They must face the realities of a world that might not fully accept them. The harshness of the homo thug image in New Orleans housing projects is vividly painted in its fast-paced, no-holds-barred thrill ride laced in a love story. It feels so gritty and so real that it's nearly a shame to be called fiction. Deserves to Be Loved delivers with authentic dialogue, fresh realism, and a colorful cast. All right, so, and that's me smiling on the cover, on this back cover. So, I did not write that. The person that wrote that was a book reviewer, who read it and reviewed it. And why are these weenies not burling? Because I want to go sit down and read the book, but I knew y'all was gonna be fussing at me if I took longer than 9:15, because y'all always be on it, because I'm on Color People Time. Pull up a chair and grab a snack. Yeah, pull up a chair, grab your snack, and let's do this. But shout out to the sippers. Thank y'all so much. Sip Nation, we are alive and in effect. We are 20K strong on YouTube. We are 50 some K strong on Instagram. 2,000 some K strong on Twitter. Like, y'all messing with my Twitter? And my Twitter is it's mcshakielive on Twitter. And y'all need to get on that too while I'm here and plugging stuff. Go follow me on Twitter. Twitter, you get some, like, at MC Shakie Live on Twitter. And I be saying some stuff on Twitter. Like, that's really what I just, girl. Go follow my Twitter. I even have my butt out on Twitter. Like, if y'all messing with me, you got to mess with the cookies, baby. So that's on Twitter as well. So let's get into this book. This book is when I say it's true. This actually happened to me. And like I said, I did have to change some things. So I'm gonna do this book. I'm gonna read this book, but I'm gonna read it with commentary, which means that I will interject certain things here and there, but I will read the book word for word. It's short. It's 38 pages. We're gonna finish it all tonight. Um, and okay, sip it bottle wine, sip nation. Don't matter what your sip is, long as you're sipping, sister. And so you couldn't find my Instagram, you gotta type the whole thing in. I'm shadow banned, so you gotta type in at mcshakielive. Yeah, my Twitter's my Twitter. I'm gonna say anything on Twitter, bitch. I wake up in the morning, I'm gonna tweet that bitch. I feel like I'm Donald Trump, bitch. That's what he do. Don't tell him that. You got your watermelon and water? Yeah, let's get into it. We're gonna get into it. Soon as I get these weenies to burrow, soon as I see the burrow, soon as it's not bubbling. But so I'm borrowing him for the night. I'm trying to do his keys thing again, girl. And I take good today. Shout out to LSU beating Alabama for the first time, like whatever. Um, no, no shade. No shade for the football fans. Go Saints, go LSU. I'm a Patriots fan and I'm an Alabama fan, which I know is not fair, but I'm gonna just have to take my L's. There's like 2 L's this week for me. So oh, what's up? What's up, Philly? Oh, you got your Snickers and ice cream? I'm gonna eat about 4, 5 of them now. I'm gonna have some for tomorrow so I can just pop in the microwave for a minute. I go to work tomorrow. So, girl. All right. I'm gonna just thought. Just remind me to check on the weenies. I'm gonna take a break after the first part. And just remind me to check on my weenies, y'all. Don't let me forget. If y'all let me forget to check on my weenies, girl, it's gonna be me and you. I swear to God. All right. Oh, welcome, Yatanya. I like that name. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just reading a book. This is not a prison story. This is me just reading a book. Okay, what's going on, Chad? So it's Deserves to Be Loved by Rodney Roussell. Now, acknowledgements. I would like to thank anyone who has ever loved. All right. So Deserves to Be Loved. My mother, a short, light-skinned, feisty woman named Shirley, moved out of the St. Bernard housing development soon after she gave birth to my half-brother. I was 6 then. She worked as a housekeeper at a hotel in the French Quarter during this time. To save on babysitting costs, my grandmother, a fair-skinned, half-Native American, half-black, surly old lady everyone called Graham, used to watch us while my mother worked. When I say watch us, I just mean like look after us, babysit in a sense. Graham lived in the St. Bernard, which is the only housing project in the 7th ward of New Orleans. She lived there years before even my mother was born and was the only place I think she ever lived. I wrote that like I really think, because I don't know if Graham ever lived somewhere else, but I don't ever remember her living nowhere else but the St. Bernard. So even though Shirley called herself moving us out of the hood, we were still very much so there. My mother and my father's relationship at the time was strained. My mother, playing Sherlock Holmes, had caught my father cheating, which this led her into doing more investigating, and she discovered that he had an entire family outside of ours. This had scorned her something serious, and they generally could not stand the sight of each other, so I'd only see my father when he would come to drop off money. All right, so this part is really kind of true and not getting too much into their business, but basically my dad had a whole nother life outside of our family. And that was crazy. Now I know about this now, which is basically my half brothers and sisters, but I didn't like it. I was definitely disconnected from them then. This left an opening for the man of the house, a position my oldest brother, whom we called Bear, graciously filled. As I can remember, Bear was a giant. He was literally all me, all muscle, all black, and all ugly. The nickname fit exactly. I was simply naturally effeminate, and thus I was the target of Bear's torment. So for years, I relentlessly suffered under his administration. Bear tried to beat the me out of me. So as a reader would read, you wouldn't even know right now that I'm just, a punk. But so imagine Bear. Y'all see how big I am? Well, Bear is me, just all muscle. Just big. I'm like, if you ever met me in real life, I'm really like 6'4". I'm tall. I'm like I'm like 350 pounds of softness. Where Bear is, I feel like back then he felt taller than me, but he's about as tall as I am now. Maybe still a little taller, and he's just all muscle, big, black, and ugly, and just all muscle. So imagine that. When I was 14, Bear was arrested. He and a few of his running buddies from the St. Bernard were indicted on an armed robbery case. When he went to jail, I went wild. It was like I could finally be me. Admittedly, I was running around the project on my free time, sucking all of the young little project boys' dicks. This is what the book say. Anyone that would let me, and there were a few. Just getting away with whatever I could never do under Bear's watch. I have another two older brothers that were a year younger than Bear, twins. Randall, who we called Dale, and Rondell, who we called Donnie. I still don't understand how he got the name Donnie out of Rondell, but he was called that before I was born. And I still don't know why they call my brother Donnie, but they call my brother Donnie. If y'all remember on Instagram Live, I was live in Walmart. I'm sorry for this commentary, but I was Instagram live in Walmart, and the woman was asking about my brother. This the one she was asking about because Donnie is just like the one. All right, so they were identical twins, both tall and dark. Dale was Mr. Popular and Donnie was Mr. Weird. They were touching 18 at the time and were much too busy chasing women to pay me much attention. Tiffany is my older sister. We call her Tiff. She is short and dark skinned. She had just turned 16 and was sort of a slut in her own right, so she could not tell me anything if she wanted to. My youngest half brother is Daryl. He, unlike us, is brown skinned and was too young to know what the heck was going on with me. So due to the circumstances, I had attained my precious freedom. Oh, y'all, somebody say hot dogs. Thank you. All right, so letting y'all into a little bit of that. Tiff was supposed to be the final of the last of the Mohicans in our family, for my mama and my daddy, because Tiffany actually came out the wrong way. Tiff came out feet first. So, which was supposed to be my mama couldn't get pregnant. So, one Mardi Gras, my daddy got lucky with my mama, and Thanksgiving, here I come. So, that's kind of like how that happened. So, so that's what happened. But they were not together when they conceived me. They were not together when they conceived me. But so they was gone. So a few years later, my mama got into another relationship and had my half brother. Had my little brother. The one that's crazy. That'd be riding around with the AK-47. I'll show you a picture of him one day. And that's my younger half brother. So y'all got that so far? All right. So put this in the refrigerator. I'm gonna go back to it. So my twin brothers, they do them. I don't know. like okay, so I was the youngest. I was the so I'm probably like 40 now. So my brothers are like, well, they're like 10 years older than me. And so that means the twins was like 9 years older than me. Fuck, hold on, I'll put some cheese on my thoughts. Shake it, stop reading me. Yes, Juju, bitch. If you the same Juju as the Juju, bitch, do they speak their own twin language? No, they're really night and day. I get along with Donnie real well. Me and Dale, I had a fight with Dale before. Well, not, I mean, as we was adults, I had a fight with Dale. Dude, what happened with him? Something that was doing. All right, so Tiff have a baby for a white boy. Her first husband, well, her only husband, she's divorced now, had a baby for a white boy, and so the white boy, so my nephew by her, their child, his cousins used to cheese him for being light skinned because everybody else in our family pretty much dark. And so, so, so everybody else pretty much fucking dark. So, they used to tease him for being light skinned and call him a zebra or something. And so, one time he was out there and they was picking on him. And so, you know, Tiffany was like, y'all stop picking on that boy, blah, 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 blah. And so Dale was like, oh, y'all better leave him alone, let him fend for himself, for he turned out like Rodney. And I'm like, well, what the fuck you mean turn out like Rodney? Whatever you do you mean? Bitch, Rodney will beat your ass, Dale. And so me and him start arguing and fussing, and I popped that bitch. Bitch, I popped the fuck out of him. We all there too, in front of everybody, bitch. Don't play with me. What the fuck you mean? Turn out like Rodney. What the fuck do you mean, bitch? Got me fucked all the way up, bro. All right. You from Chicago calling hot dog Polishes, okay? So, no sap, bitch, don't play with me. Bitch, I'ma bop you. So, all right. So, all right. So back to what I was saying. The first part of the book I was just explaining my family. I hope I'm reading this to y'all good, and I hope y'all like it. The twins had a gray 1978 Ford Fairmont that was parked in the driveway of Graham's project home. It didn't run. It needed a motor and a transmission. They got the car from my grandfather, who had died and had never gotten it fixed. Donnie used to use the car as his secret smoke spot. I, however, used it as my secret suck spot. So, one day, I was doing my thing with a 15-year-old skinny light-skinned boy named Drew from the project in the car. I was 13, and my ears were working. I heard Shirley coming trot up the sidewalk. I did hear her, but I didn't stop sucking. I was in the car, and the windows were foggy, but I heard her. To this day, I don't know why I didn't stop. I had sucked Drew's dick before, and it wasn't like I couldn't suck it a million times if I wanted to, but I just didn't stop. Donnie, I done told you about smoking that shit in my mama's house, my mother ranted. It didn't click to me that she would think it was my brother in the car smoking weed, but that's exactly what she thought. Shirley was coming from work and had a small grocery bag in her hand when she opened the front door. This happened so fast, but she caught me in the act. Okay, so that really happened. And pretty much just like that. Bitch, I was in that car eating that dick up, bitch. Girl, I was eating sound, baby. I was eating for dear. And I'm like sitting up there sucking that dick, and I'm like, and then now that I think about it, and as I was writing, I was thinking about it, like, bitch, I could have sucked that boy dick a million times, because I had sucked it so many times before, like, he would always want his dick sucked. Highly straight. But bitch, I was eating, bitch. Shirley opened that door, bitch. I had that dick down throat, bitch. Now I'm 13 years old, bitch. Now I'm young, bitch. I had that dick down throat, bitch. I was like, bitch, I'm not finna stop. Bitch. But she opened that door, bitch, and it was just like, so, okay. At this point in my life, I denied being gay. I had denied it to everybody. I'm not gay. They used to be, oh, you gonna be a punk? No, I'm not. You gonna be gay? No, I'm not. Despite my obvious femininity, ability to booty shake better than most girls, and the pure disdain for girls on a sexual or romantic level that I possess, I deny being gay wholeheartedly. If somebody asks me, I'll be like, nope, I'm not gay. Nope, 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 nope. Stop playing with me. Still, there was no denying the erect penis in my mouth. Shirley dropped the groceries, cried out, slammed the car door, and ran off. Hey, everybody. I still don't know how I allowed my mother to see that. I was so ashamed, and I could not face her. Drew left and ran to his house, fearing that my mother would call his and tell her what she caught us doing. I ran off to Spiders, which is an Iranian-owned corner store across the street from the project. When I got there, I went up to the payphone, which was on the side of the building. Now, this is happening in the early 90s. I called my father and told him that I had decided to run away. He asked why, and I could not tell him, so I hung up the phone in his face. So then I just hung out there at Spiders for a while. I really had nowhere to go. But a few minutes later, Tiff came walking around to the store. She told me to come home. Mom ain't mad at you. Hell, you just confirmed what the fuck everybody already knew anyway, Tiff said. Based on the fact I had no earthly idea where to go, and the fact that I literally had less than $5 to my name, going home sounded like my best move. Tiff went into the store and got us each a pint of Bluebell homemade vanilla ice cream. Graham had baked a 7-Up cake that day. The walk home was strange. Tiff ran it off about how she felt about giving oral sex. So Tiff was like, really, she was having a discussion with me about sucking dick. Because, nah, so I guess she felt like, oh, you sucking dick? Well, let's talk about it. I remained silent, but I got the impression that she was excited to be able to talk to someone about how she hated swallowing semen. She was my mother's only girl, and so I think she finally felt like she had someone who could empathize, at least in some part to what she was experiencing growing up. So I walked into Graham's only to find my mother sitting at the kitchen table. Her eyes were red from crying. She was on the phone with my father, who had called her once I called him. I heard her confirming to him that I was back. I realized that my actions had made my mother cry, and so I began to cry. This made her hang up with him and come give me a much-needed hug. My mother explained to me that she loved me and that I'm her son, and that she would love me no matter what. She did tell me that I was too young to be out there doing stuff like that, and what she caught me doing. She wanted me to be very careful as I discovered the tenets of my sexuality. She also explained that I could talk to her about anything. All right, pause. 2 seconds, commentary. All right. What I want to ask, my mother's in here, which should be a minute, what would you do if you catch us Tiffany's keep it real all the times? Period. No sap. I ain't lying. Tiffany don't have no cut on the dope whatsoever. Tiffany got no cut. Tiffany Coke is raw. So as mothers, but we good old sandwich Spiders, Lord take me back. Oh, girl. What would you do if you catch your adolescent son doing this as a mother? Real talk. I just want to know. Just kind of, I know I should be, I'm going to go back to reading the book in 2 seconds. I just really want to know. Or think about that and hit me up, because I want to have a discussion about this one day, about what you do in this situation. Because right here is a turning point in my life. If I had a child, talk to him about safety of having any type of oral sex. Okay, that's a good answer. Because my mama, at this point, changed my life. And so, and you'll see as the book goes on. I don't know. I would have to experience it to my reaction, right? I love him no different. I cry and probably smack him off impulse, then talk about it. Safety is a concern. Talk to him, make sure he knows this world is cool. I would have talked to him, not beat him, keeping him safe. Yeah, my mama did whoop me. My mama whooped me for many other things, but she did not whoop me for this. I don't know. I'd be here today if my mama caught me doing that. You don't know if you'd be here today, yeah. I love you too, LM. All right. After an hour later, my father arrived. Big shot. Talked to him about safe sex. I would have told my son love him. I would be mad. You just shut in my home, but I wouldn't care that it's a boy. Okay, exactly what your mother did. Your mom offered support and definitely educated about the choice. I would let him know nothing is wrong with him. Good. All right. Back to it. There's so many responses. So I'm sorry. I shouldn't have asked that right then. I wanted to ask that later on. So I apologize. But it's a book discussion, so I like it. Thank y'all for y'all thing. For y'all putting no sap. I like that though. About an hour later, my father arrived. Richard is a tall and stocky, full-blooded Haitian. He's black as tar and very resolved. He is regarded because he never says much, but when he does say something, you know it's very important. My father don't talk too much, but like when he talk, nobody say nothing else. He like that type of person. Like he's very imposing. Um, Richard simply asked me what I had done. Now I could not tell him. He and I were alone in one of Graham's spare bedrooms. He proceeded to ask me if what my mother said she caught me doing was true. I didn't answer at first, thinking the fear and trepidation. Wait, I had to read it. I didn't answer at first, thinking. I didn't answer at first, thinking the fear and trepidation was building. My father was one who even Bear respected, and so this was something monumental. I could not tell him to his face. I couldn't say what father I was out there giving oral sex, suck a dick, or whatever. I couldn't say that. So I decided to quickly lie. I shook my head no. He knew, though, that my mother would not lie about something so serious. This was the first and only time my father gave me a whooping. This was the first and only time I ever saw Richard cry. He told me later that the whooping was not because I was gay. He said, that's what the tears were for. The whooping was because you lied to me. That's true. I caught a whooping. And my daddy tried to explain to me that the whooping was because I lied. I told him that no, ain't nothing happened. But he told me he cried that I was gay. My father is very happy-go-lucky. He don't care about much. Like nothing really. Like my mama would start fussing and yelling, and he just would be like, okay. That's the kind of man he is. After that day, I stopped running around the project chasing discs. At least I slowed down for like a week. I really wrote it just like that, y'all. Look at this here. After that day, I stopped running around the project chasing dicks. At least I slowed down for like a week. I really did. Like it was like, okay, it was a big thing for like a day or two, girl, and then everybody was over it. And it was like, so I was on a sort of like a self-imposed punishment. It felt like it was important for me to show my contrition for getting caught, something I had resolved to never let happen again. During my period of abstinence, I spent a lot of time on the phone gossiping with a group of girls around my age from the project. They called themselves the BBGs. It was an acronym for Body Bernard Girls. Even though it was a group of all females, I was their undisputed leader. We used to go around fighting other girls, doing the New Orleans style of twerking against other cliques, stealing out the stores, and getting to all sorts of mischief throughout the Seven War. So this part is mostly true for the, I might not have been an undisputed leader. I was the undisputed sister, but I never had an undisputed leader. I know the girl who's the leader. Shout out to her. New Orleans is divided into three areas. There are Uptown, Downtown, and the West Bank. The city is further divided into numbered wards. Uptown has 6 wards, 3rd, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, and 17th. Downtown has the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. Some people consider Uptown the 4th ward Uptown too, but it's not. Anything past Canal is downtown. For the hoes in the background that say I'm not from New Orleans, they don't even know that. The West Bank, I'm from old New Orleans, original New Orleans. Them hoes just coming in. That's a little FYI, I understand. Yeah, Stacy, but that's not a question for this one. The West Bank area of New Orleans is called Algiers, or the 15th ward, or the 1.5. That's the West Bank area of New Orleans. Now, the West Bank itself is West Bank. Part, China. A long boulevard named Canal Street separates Uptown and Downtown, which are both separated from the West Bank by the Mississippi River. Uptown and Downtown during this time did not get along. In that sense, New Orleans is really like 3 cities. All the infamy that New Orleans received during this time as the murder capital in the 90s came from the Uptown versus Downtown beef. Remember, anybody could tell you when they closed the 10 Ward Project down and they sent all of them to the 7 Ward and everybody was like, they put the St. Thomas everywhere else. And then they start closing parts of the Magnolia, sending them to different places. This is where they come from. I'm from the 7th Ward, and the younger brother of St. Bernard Bear, who was known as a stand-up guy through downtown. With the armed robbery charge, there had been a murder indictment that didn't go through, but Bear was sentenced to 10 years. He did not fold on his running partners, and so his name meant something to the streets of downtown. This meant that for the most part, I could move downtown rather freely. The 7th Ward is one of the bigger wards, and so I, along with my clique of the BBGs, made a name for ourselves downtown. I rarely went uptown for anything. I didn't know many people uptown my age, and Shirley knew this. So when the summer came and I was 14, she had a very bright idea. Shirley's older sister's Pamela, who was a short, heavy-set lady. My bad. Something going on my other phone. My phone called somebody. I don't know why. Sorry, y'all. Sorry, y'all. Excuse me. Sorry about that. All right. So, my phone really called somebody. All right. Somebody said tell a joke. What? Yeah, my phone on. Yeah, the hot dog's been up. I'm about to eat them hot dogs while I'm on here with y'all. Mukbang or whatever they call it. All right. Shirley's older sister Pamela, who was a short, heavy-set lady, everyone called T. Pam, is my mother's older sister. Thank you, Jay Wilson. I would tell you about, but I'm laying now. And I lived in my mother's older sister lived in the Callio housing projects. The Callio is in the middle of the 3rd Ward and very much uptown. T. Pam was the candy lady, frozen cup lady, the choir director lady, and the church pie big lady. She didn't have any kids of her own. I don't think she could have kids, but I'm not 100% positive of that. T. Pam's husband, who I'm named for, died right before I was born. And for as long as I can remember, T. Pam lived without a man. T. Pam was regarded in her project, so nobody really messed with her. The neighborhood hustlers and gangsters were all watched by T. Pam when they were babies, and so all their kids were too. She was also the daycare lady for a while until my oldest uncle Clarence went to jail. His wife got on crack real bad, so my cousin Clarence Jr. moved in with T. Pam. My cousin Clarence was 16 this summer, and T. Pam was raising him. He was tall and skinny with a caramel-like complexion. My mother, to my fruitless disapproval, sent me to stay with T. Pam for the summer. Yeah, she was buying buku sugar. Them food stamps back then was real stamps. She figured that it would do me good to be away from the 7th Ward where I roam without control. She knew that being uptown would be like a foreign country to me. She wanted me to escape the trouble I was getting into with the BBGs, and she also knew I wouldn't attempt to partake in any of the boys uptown because I didn't know the boys that did indulge in their life like I knew in my project. So I knew any boy that was downtown that was fucking around, I knew them niggas. And so I was gonna eat. But she knew if she tell me uptown, I don't know them niggas. So bitch, it was like a very low process. This was one of my mother's smarter moves, now that I think about it. She had a few things right, as I was just not about to start running around in unfamiliar territory. She put quite a big pause in my mojo, as Gran was getting up in age and was more carefree. But the Bible told him T. Pam tolerated less foolishness. So, as my brothers used to tell me, I got Gran when she didn't give a fuck. They got Gran when Gran would whip that ass. So, Gran wasn't really an option for me. Like, I came along later. When Grandma used to watch us, Grandma ain't never whooped me. Grandma ain't never used the camp. The only time my grandma used to get mad was if you played around the Young and Restless. Now, bitch, you get an ass whooping then. But other than that, you couldn't really you really couldn't make her mad. BBGs is a body but all girls. That's what it stands for. You gotta go get the book. But other than that, my grandma, you can make her mad. Like everything she'll laugh at. She wasn't on that type of time with me. But my brothers and them was telling me that she used to be terrible too. Oh, but T-Pam, she didn't play that foolishness. T-Pam was so nice, but T-Pam was like, she'll be like, she paid like better attention. All right. That hot dog good, bitch. I'm hungry, one too. So, I'm swallowing the bitches. At the time, I still denied being gay pretty much. It was an elephant in the room that wasn't really talked about with my family. Like everybody knew, but nobody really was saying it. Of course, it was blatantly obvious. However, when questioned, I still denied it. So, Clarence and T-Pam thought, but it was not really confirmed. Clarence and I were always cool. I was one of his favorite little cousins. He always treated me pretty good. I remember many times he used to advise me to get a stick and stick or bat and whip Bear's ass with it for messing with me. I never took his advice forever. As I remember my cousin Clarence, he would be like, say, son, go get a bat and whip that nigga, man. Bang all that. I would never do that. But Clarence had a best friend. His name was Michael Collins. He was 16 as well. Mike was as tall as Clarence with an almond-shaped head. He had a tan golden brown skin tone and was athletically fit. Mike spent a lot of time at T-Pam's project apartment. It was almost as if he lived there too. It was a second home to him. I found out later that Mike's mother was a heroin addict and his older sister had 4 kids by 3 different men and could not care for Mike. Mike never knew his father. So T-Pam often looked after Mike. Mike slept over most nights. Mike and Clarence would sleep in Clarence's bed, head to foot, and I would sleep on a little pallet on the floor or on the sofa in the living room. There were a couple of guys that they used to hang with as well named Walter and Eldridge. But Mike and Clarence were more like brothers. They used to let me tag along with them. I used to watch them play basketball and watch them go and try to pick up girls, which they were, moderately successful at. I was, for the most part, quiet when I hung out with them. I was a certified fifth wheel. So the first couple of weeks that summer were quite boring for me. I hung under T-Pam most of the time, helping her sweet shop or whatever she was baking for the church. Palm shade. I thought I was leaving the section 8 section. I just I'm lost. Okay. Ran to the bathroom. So Mike would always pick on me or tease me for some strange reason. I found it strange because I really had done nothing to provoke him at all. Like, I ain't messing with him, but Mike used to always be on my trail. He used to be saying stuff like, see, man, your cousin gay as fuck. Telling that to Clarence. Clarence would try to defend me. He would tell Mike to stop messing with me or I was just going through a sissy phase and that would stop just as soon as I got some pussy. So as Mike used to tease me, Clarence used to be like, dog, as soon as he gets some pussy, that shit going out the window. I know punk ass phase, that's going, I don't know, I ain't supposed to. A few times when Clarence was not around, Mike would play grab ass with me. I'd run for him or tell him stop playing with me. But undercover, I really liked the attention. I know you like it, he would say. I certainly did. But I sure as hell was not about a minute I speak Creole. No. I grew up in this country. And I grew up in my mom people, not my dad people. My daddy does, and some of my uncles do, but nobody else does. My grandma did, and I used to hear it, and I think I used to know some of it, but I was like, whatever. So I know you like it, he would say. Chew, that's meat. I don't chew meat. I swallow meat. Kyla, sister, I don't do no chewing. You're lucky I'm cutting it up. You're lucky I'm swallowing it whole. Bitch, I'm a dick sucker for real, bitch. Y'all heard them fucking prison stories, bitch. I'm a cocksucker for real. Don't play with me. But anyway, no sell. Talking about chew. Chew? What? Where they do that at? Where they do that at? Chew? Bitch, I'm a snake charmer. Ain't no nigga never not nutted up, bitch. When a nigga get with me, no sap. When a nigga get with me, bitch, you might as well call that nigga Eminem, bitch, because he gonna melt my mouth, not in my hand. You know what I mean? If you nigga get with me, you might as well call that nigga, bitch, no sap. Girl, talking about you. What? Who? Teeth. Girl, I don't need them. Chew. Huh? Y'all still doing that in 2019? They still 2019? No sap. Don't leave. Listen, my teeth just for me to smile. That's all they for. I don't have no reason for them after that. Chew. The girl said, chew. This meat, sister. I don't need to do that. Girl, no sap, sister. You still chewing in 2019? I'm not. I've been stopped chewing a long time ago. Bitch, if your nigga around me, you might as well call that nigga baby food. Bitch, because he going down. Okay. Okay. I had four or five, I don't know. They gone now. All right. So let's back to the story. I did think Mike was cute. He reminded me so much of the singer Usher Raymond. Mike was really cut for his age. His skin was smooth and he had good teeth, anchoring a pretty smile with dimples. For a couple weeks strong, I was rolling with Mike and Clarence. Uptown may as well have been Mars for me. I knew only them and their friends and was in a prison like the one Bear had me in, minus the physical abuse. Mike was my new tormentor in the form of picking on me. One day in late June, T. Pam's church had a revival to go to at another church some 4 hours away. She decided to leave us home alone instead of trudging 3 unruly teenage boys for a 12-hour pilgrimage. That meant it was time for the boys to play. Clarence was seeing a young female from the other side of the project, and so he went out to be with her. Mike was messing around with this girl named Janelle, a petite, small-eyed girl that was about his age. He had made plans for her to come over to T. Pam's. She stayed in another project in the third ward. I want to say Janelle from the Milf, but don't quote me on that. I just really don't remember. My plan was to spend the night on the phone with the BBGs. I usually manage the phone at the house, and since I couldn't go downtown, the phone was my only conduit to stay connected to my kingdom. In those days when I was on the phone on a 3-way call, when someone else would call, they would receive a busy signal. Y'all get what I'm saying? Back in the gap, we had a phone. So if I'm on the phone with you and I'm on the phone with one of the hoes, we on the phone, you call my phone, it's gonna be busy because of 3-way. The light count is 150. And so with that being said, it's like I would have the phone locked up, but that was our little way of having a party line. At the time, Clarence and T. Pam were both gone, and I had the line tied up on a conference call about one of my BBGs getting jumped. Like somebody got jumped, and so that's why we was all on the phone 3-way. Yours said 250. Oh my God. I was relaxing. I had on a big t-shirt and some Goof Troop pajama bottoms. While the TV was on, it was low, and I lay on the sofa, gossiping down. Girl getting the tea all the way back then, bitch. Ooh, child. When I tell you chile. No step, bitch. I was getting that tea. I wanted that tea. One of the BBGs that got jumped, girl, I need to know what had happened. This was Instagram before there was Instagram, sister. Okay? Bitch, I was getting that tea. Mike came into the room where I was. He had on nothing but his skin and a pair of loose-fitting boxer shorts. You on a 3-way? His voice boomed. I nodded my head. I was too in awe to say anything. Rodney, man, get off the phone three-way. I'm waiting on Janelle to call, Mike demanded. I rolled my eyes as if the task aggravated me and would be the end of all my life. I'm like, oh my God. I'm getting the... So, so I'm... Now picture me, y'all. Punk down, pajamas, laying on the sofa, like, and he asking me to get off. That's like me telling him, bitch, get off of IG now. I'm like, no, like, this is the end of my life. All right, I said. I had met Janelle before, so she knew who I was. Sheena girl, tell Marika to call you. I'm about to disconnect so the line could be clear. I pressed the flash button, disconnecting one of the callers, which in effect cleared the line. I'll be in the tub in case she called, he said, and then he swagged walked toward the bathroom. He had to feel my eyes wandering from his chest to his back as he walked away because he entered the bathroom. Because as he entered the bathroom, he gave me a wicked little smirk. This was my first time really looking at Mike in a sexual manner. He was full of abundance of testosterone-laden bravado that spoke to my senses at the moment. I had always liked his playful attention and had seen his chiseled body countless times, but this was my first time looking at him like, damn, he fine, Marika said into my ear, bring me back to reality. She was talking about the singer Genuine whose video was on BET. I quickly regrouped myself. Mike was off limits. He was basically like a big cousin to me. He even called T-Pam mom a couple times. The line was clear for him. I was still on the phone, just not on three-way. When someone would call, the call waiting service would kick in and I would answer the call. About 10 minutes later, Janelle did call. I clicked over and answered the call. Hey, Rodney, look, tell Mike that my mama came back earlier than I expected, and so I can't sneak her over there. I assured her that I would deliver the message. So I got up and knocked on the bathroom door. I cracked it open just slight enough so that my voice could travel in. I almost felt jealous of my voice at that point. I mean, it was going places that I wish I could go. But I delivered the message. Mike was angry, to say the least. I suppose the anticipation and disappointment of not getting Janelle's sex had angered him. After a few explicit words, he said, bring me the damn phone so I could call this on and see what's up. So he's in there cursing because he mad because he ain't get no pussy tonight. Boy, I ain't getting off the phone, and I'm not coming in there while you in the sub, I said, full of sass and attitude. Nigga, we got the same damn thing, he roared. Now bring me the fucking phone. His voice consumed the air. It was with this masculine authority that I quickly ended my call and went in the bathroom to bring Mike the phone. It's like, bitch, when he talk like that, bitch, what the fuck? Bitch, oh, child, come, here, daddy. What you want this phone? You better go to the future, get your Samsung. So, as I stepped into the bathroom, no step. As I stepped into the bathroom, I immediately noticed the curtain was back and there was Mike in the tub all soapy. The bubbles covered most of his skin. And instantly, my jealousy transferred from my voice to those damn bubbles. As I closer to him and outreached my hand, my eyes surveyed the water where it would be. I thought I saw a glimpse, but then he got the phone from my hand, drawing my attention back to him. He had to have seen how my eyes travel. Yes, and motherfucker D, he said under his breath as he took the phone. I quickly ran out of the bathroom. I heard him fussing at Janelle, and then I heard him hang the phone up, probably in her face. I mean, he cursed out. A moment passed, and then I heard him call for me to come get the phone. I quickly yelled back that I would get it when he got out of the bathroom. I didn't trust myself at this point because, well, no, I'm finna talk. This is commentary. This is, whatever. I didn't trust myself at this point because I'm like, oh my God, this boy just stopped playing with me. I was finally able to get back and sit on the sofa. My preteen mind was oozing with all kind of lustful thought. My body was evidence of what the goosebumps, my body was evidence of that, with the goosebumps on my arm, the hair on my back of my neck, and the semi between my legs. Betray me then, I said to my lower self. I then laid on the sofa and turned facing the back. I was desperately pushing the mental to get the sight of Mike in the tub out of my mind. It felt as if it was almost working for a minute. Hear your phone, came the voice. The voice wasn't the same one he had just cursed poor Janelle out with. I turned over and there he was. He had the phone in one hand and held a towel draped around his lower half with the other. He was still kind of wet, which caused my jealousy to transfer from the bubbles to the water. He threw the phone down next to me. I looked up at the stunning specimen of a young man. His skin was hugging his muscles. His body was wet and glistening in the dim lights of the project home. The V shape of his abdomen and the slim trail of hair that led from his navel into the towel. I knew you was gay. No, I'm not, Mike, I replied. All right, whatever. You don't want nobody to know you're a fag. I ain't gonna tell nobody you're a fag. I was not offended by the F word back then as I am now, but I still roll my eyes. Don't you have company coming? Nah, man, that whole tripping talking about her mama home and shit. He unwrapped the towel and began wiping down his now naked body right in front of me. It's a shame, too, she gonna miss all this I had for her. He stood there right in front of me in his birthday suit. His lengthy tool, a shade darker than him, was semi-erect. I might need you to take care of this for me. Oh, somebody said $20. Thank you. I can buy the book, but why would I get you live in person? Comcast in trouble. Thank you, sister. Thank you, sister. Titty pop. This was too much for me. I ran into Clarence's room. I felt like I wanted to do this so bad, but I truly feared the fallout. I was mindful now of how I could hurt people who loved me with my exploits. I couldn't disrespect Clarence or T-Pam and deal with what Shirley would have to say if she found out I was doing exactly what she sent me there not to do. Mike came into the room, still butt-ass naked. I jumped in the bed and had my back turned to him. Leave me alone, Mike, I said sternly. He got into the bed with me. Don't do all that. I know you like it, he said. I've been with your kind before. I know that look. My kind? I repeated to myself. Mike referred to me as a fag, which I took to mean a homosexual man. So I was about to interrogate Mike further, because to that point in my life, I had not really ever met any admitted homosexual. But that line of thought went right out the window when he took my hand and placed it on his growing manhood. I protested a bit, but his dick in my hands made every ounce of reserve I had diminish with the quickness. The birth of a slut. I didn't say that in the book, but bitch, can you just see it right here, bro? All right. Damn, your hand's soft like a girl's, Mike moaned, which naturally made every ounce of nature take over my body. I turned all the way around and positioned myself so that I could take his tool into my mouth. Mike was the oldest boy I'd had at the time, and his pipe swelled up to be the biggest. It was like I was an oral virgin all over again. It took me a moment to get used to his girth and length. Once I did, I stopped gagging and started sucking. I finally felt him begin to throb in my mouth. Then I stopped sucking. Now, okay. This part is very true. There's been some changes. Some things was changed here and there before. But this part is very true. He had a big old dick. Big old dick. And I'm young at the time, and this boy, he was 16, so he was coming into the thing. So, bitch, he was coming into his life. And so, bitch, he had a big old dick. What the fuck you doing, he asked. Please don't stop. But you about to nut, I replied. And? He said. I'm not swallowing that, I said. At the time, I didn't like the taste or texture of semen. It was something my sister and I disagreed on, and the source of some of our friendlier debates. That's cool. I'm gonna bust in that ass anyway. Did you just say ass? I asked in belief. That's exactly what I said. Mike began to run his hand down my back. Up until that point, I had not went that far with anyone, and I just sure as hell didn't imagine my first time being unromantically in Clarence's room with Mike. So in my mind, it was either swallow or get initiated into that special club. I went to town on him with my mouth. Okay, like, I guess in my mind, I figured out, like, bitch, once I go there, bitch, it's no return. It's no return. So I kind of like, I can suck all the dick I want, but if I go there, bitch, it's like whatever. So Mike let out as I took him all in. His eyes rolled back into his head, and he threw his head back as my throat gave his pipe a massage. Damn, boo, I'm glad Janelle ain't come. You did it so much better than her. That's almost all I had to hear. Letting me know that I was better than a real live girl did something to me. The few times I had ever been rejected by the youngsters out of my project was because I was not a real girl. So I worked on his tool with my jaws and lips with ferocity. Mike had made his way inside my pajama bottoms. His fingers had found my hole by this point, but I didn't mind that. I fully intended to suck the soul out of him. His other hand held the back of my head and guided it all the way down his pole. I could barely breathe, but I felt him burst. Mike screamed out in pure ecstasy as he unloaded himself deep inside my mouth. They say bye, Janelle. Go ahead, Queen Mo 32. Okay. 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 As I sat up and noticed that he had broken a sweat, I had unusual feeling of contentment come over me. I witnessed the pleasure that I gave him, and that part was evidenced by the look on his face. The knowledge that it was solely because of me that this was there gave me a natural sort of high. I cannot explain the connection I felt as he released his seed into my throat. Me sucking his dick and him ejaculating in my mouth was all about his pleasure, but I think it did more for me than it did for him. It was the very first time that I purposely swallowed someone's seed. It was also the first time that I felt the truly intimate connection with anyone. I never knew that giving him pleasure could be pleasurable for me. Before this time, it was mostly I wanted it to be over. I lock in the sight of a dude and go and masturbate later. However, face to face with this reaction, his true utter nakedness, I felt him. The intimate connection, though, did not prepare me for what happened next. You getting high just talking about it, Claudine? Okay. This is not a sex story, but this is what happened. Mike positioned himself on the bed. He was still erect. He tugged at my pajama bottom and in one swift move had them off of me. He then ushered me to lay on my stomach. What are you doing? I asked. I was basking in the glow of the connection. Mike, though, was trying to connect in a very different way. For 2 years of dealing with my own sexuality, I had avoided getting penetrated. I had sucked every guy who would let me and found the opportunity, but I never crossed that line. I guess the part of me always knew that once I gave up my virginity, any semblance or hope of heterosexuality would be gone. I had to ask myself, was I really ready to give that up because there would be no turning back? I'm about to mark my territory. Mike spit in his hand and massaged his saliva into my crack. I thought it was so nasty, but I reserved judgment. I was not sure what to expect. Mike, I never did this before. So you gonna let me break you in? He asked with a near excited look on his face. I looked up into his brown eyes and deep, not knowing exactly what I saw, but I nodded. He gave off a devilish grin. Besides, you're a big girl, you could take it. I'm not a girl, I thought as he fingered my opening. It felt sort of uncomfortable, but I dealt with it because, well, it was still sexy as hell. Is it gonna hurt? I asked sheepishly. He looked at me with a look that asked me, how the hell am I supposed to know? I looked back at him with a nervous stare that said, You had better make up an answer, lie or something. No, he said. He then entered me slowly, and the indescribable pain I felt could not even be put into words with my scream. He lied. It hurted. He was only part of the way in me, and I was begging for him to get out. Bitch, when I tell you, um, I remember it like it was yesterday, bitch. This is commentary, this is not part of the book. Bitch, when I tell you, bitch, I remember it like it was yesterday. It's no feeling like this. This was literally like pain all over my body. And then this bitch, not nowhere near small. And bitch, this bitch, I felt this all in my fucking everywhere, bitch. And it felt. So I'm telling him, bitch, get out. You got to go. You got to get your ass out of my ass. No step, out of here. Exit the fucking building. So he said, why, baby? You feel so good. He said softly, and he kissed the back of my neck as he lay on top of me. The pain was one thing, but then my heart jumped. It was a wave that almost made the pain subside. I relented. The kiss and the goosebumps they caused were just for too much for me at once. I felt something strange, and I was at that point willing to go through this pain for him, right then and there. Just relax for me, baby, he said softly. He kissed me again. I nodded for him to continue because I couldn't really speak. My eyes were well with tears. It was not just from the pain, but from the sheer emotion. He finally entered me all the way, and I felt him through every inch of my body. That night, the pain broke me in, as I gave away what little semblance of innocence I had left. I gave my virginity and myself to Mike. His climax came, but I was so lost in him and the situation that I could not say if it was 5 minutes or 5 hours. All I know is that he buried his seed deep in me, and the feeling that I felt was somewhere in between heaven and outer space. In some ways, I lost myself to him, but I never really felt so found, so safe, so right. Okay. Let me give y'all a little commentary. They said, did I bleed? Yes. Did I? Okay, so I did not put this in the book because I didn't want to sound nasty and I don't want to take away from the moment. But basically, like, I kind of shitted a little bit. Now, I'm not trying to make y'all go like you and whatever, whatever. And this, and got to understand, like, I am very, very young when this is happening. And I do not shit on dicks, so don't even go around telling nobody, oh, bitch, shaking around here shitting on dicks, bitch. I'm going to bop out. Okay? Um, I promise you I'll bop you. Bitch, I'm gonna find you if you go around and tell a bitch I'm shitting on dicks, because I'm not. But, like, I didn't know about dishing in. Like, no sap. I know I could teach a class on dishing now. But listen, he was big and whatever, whatever. So I kind of shitted a little bit. So there was a part of this that I left out of the book, but we got up and had to clean, like, all kind of stuff on. It's a little shit between levels. Okay. Girl, y'all stop it. Y'all stop. I hate y'all. These comments y'all worse than Instagram, bitch. Um, yeah, so this is yeah, so I was very inexperienced. I did not know about cleaning. I did not know about nothing like that. This bitch just climbing, putting this big old dick in my back, and I wanted it out. But this shit in booty ass. I was like 14. So stop it. But I should have told you that. I should have kept that to myself. But yeah, he hit them sugar walls. Girl, you shitty bitch. Girl, fuck y'all. So girl, no sound. So but he didn't trip. He was just like, he knew kind of like this. Should have never let you catch a live. Okay, yeah, I was 14, bitch. He was 16, so we were both young. We was both kids. It what it was. Um, so after the shit was removed and all this stuff was, the sheets and stuff was in the washing machine, that's when we kind of finished. Was this his first time with a man? That was not his first time with a man, but that was my first time with a man. He had already admitted that he had been with my kind before. Do I have feeling for him? Yes, you're going to find out. The story is, we're about halfway through right about now. It's a short story like a novella. Latanya something. Thank you so much. I love you too, sweetheart. Latanya. Where was T? At the revival. At the church revival. T Pam, you mean? T Pam was at the church revival. So afterward, he laid down next to me in his glow, totally naked, still, but with no complex whatsoever. It just felt natural. He spooned me and held me. You alright? Yes, squeaked from my lips as I lay in his arms, not caring at the moment about anything on or off earth. Man, you got some good booty, nice and tight, he said, which immediately spoiled my romantic mood. I got up and went into the bathroom. My butt was still sore, so I walked a tad bit funny. I needed to clean myself up though. As I entered the bathroom and turned on the light, I caught a reflection of myself in the mirror. It was like I was seeing myself for the first time. My naturally curly hair was slightly unkempt with sweat. My dark chocolate skin fit snugly on my skinny frame. I was skinny at one point. I'll show you a picture. But I was slim but looked vibrant and healthy, attractive to most. My dark brown eyes, however, looked back at me accusingly. I felt I had aged. All my life, mostly everyone always said negative things about homosexuality. I scratched my hair and let out a sigh. I hated myself at that moment. I wanted to die. I felt both dirty and disgusting. Everyone had always told me that being gay was wrong, and I believed it. I was angry with myself and not at the fact that I had finally crossed the threshold and given myself to someone. I was angry with myself because I loved it. Mike and that made me feel so right, but everybody was telling me it was so wrong. So I was really upset that I liked it. This is my mcshakie, welcome back, baby. Go ahead, Frederica. And I was, bitch. Bitch, he put a little jiggle in the wiggle, bitch. I promise you, no step. All right. So let's continue to the next part. The next few weeks were, are you a flower? Okay, I guess. Noodle eggs. The next few weeks were a game of cat and mouse that Mike and I were playing with T-Pam and Clarence, even though neither of them knew it. Trying not to get caught became part of the game. It added that much more excitement to what we were doing. Mike's sexual appetite for me surpassed that he had even for Janelle, who I came to despise, as she was my competition for Mike's attention, even though she didn't know it. Mike and I were doing our thing for the most part without much attention. There were a couple close calls here and there, but nothing for us to be concerned about. He didn't pick on me anymore, and Clarence noticed that. I want to hang out with him and Clarence more, and T-Pam noticed that. However, our secret was our secret. I got comfortable taking his dick and began getting into it. I asked to try different positions and found weird pleasure within my pain. My ass started to have a little jiggle to it, according to Mike. One Sunday, in the middle of summer, Clarence, Mike, and I decided to skip out on church. This was against one of T-Pam's cardinal rules. Church on Sundays. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. It was a busy Sunday at the church. There were women's and usher board meetings, both of which T-Pam chaired on. So we snuck out of the back of service while T-Pam was attending her choir duty. We caught the bus from the church and walked back to the Catio projects from the bus stop. It does. En route to the projects, we stopped at a corner store and stole some junk food. Clarence made arrangements to go and meet one of his girlfriends. Mike said he was going to meet Janelle. Clarence freshened up and left. I faked being mad just as soon as Clarence walked out the door. Mike started grabbing at me, trying to kiss me. I said, go to Miss Janelle. Don't be touching on me. He pulled me into him and hugged me tight. His hands stopped. His hands moved down to my bottom, his new favorite play toy. Stop playing with boo. You know I love you. This was the first time he or any man told me that he loved me in that way. I love you too, I said, melting in his arms. We kissed some. Then we both got butt ass naked and got into Clarence's bed, and he began to make love to me. It was not even close to fucking anymore at this point. What we were doing required passion and intensity. He concentrated on what he was doing, reaching every spot and making sure I felt him everywhere. I know you too, Latanya. I don't like Janelle neither, but okay, we'll get to that in a second. Listen, it's getting juicy. What we were doing required passion and intensity. He concentrated on what he was doing, reaching every spot and making sure I felt him everywhere. I considered it to be way beyond sex. We were making love. He had me doggy style. I was tooted up in the bed. The sheets were somewhere in the room. It was our skin and our sex. Mike hit me with a mid-stroke, and then the door opened. Clarence had come back early for whatever reason, and he saw his best friend, his brother, knee-deep inside his little cousin. Yeah, I'ma save it. We were caught in an act of no possible denial. The feeling was a familiar one to me because, Shirley had caught me sucking dick before. So, I kind of knew this. But Mike was in total shock. Clarence went ballistic. He ran into Mike and power drove him off me and onto the floor. He was punching and punching Mike. Mike tried his best to shield himself, but Clarence was connecting. Clarence was in a rage. No, I cried as I tried to pull my bigger, wilder cousin off my man. No, please. Bitch ass nigga, I'll kill you, Clarence was saying as he pounded into Mike. No, Clarence, please stop. Please stop. I love him, I cried to my cousin. I pleaded with him to understand. He was so angry, I saw in his eyes, but he stopped. You what? Clarence asked. I love him, I responded slowly. You love him? Clarence looked at me directly in my tear-filled eyes. What the fuck? He looked down at Mike, who shielded himself in anticipation of Clarence going crazy again. Nigga, get the fuck out of here. I believe that Mike was more embarrassed than physically hurt. But he got up, found his clothes, and left. I put my clothes on during all this and went sat on the sofa. I watched Mike walk out the door, and he looked at me and whispered that he was sorry. After Mike was gone, Clarence came out of the room and sat next to me. The only reason I ain't gonna tell T. Pam or T. Shirley about this is cause I fuck with you, little cuz, and I know you ain't know what you was doing or saying. I looked at him with a vicious stare. Clarence, I knew exactly what I'm saying, and I know what I'm doing. Did he force you at all? I said, no, Clarence, I really love him, I said. He looked at me strangely. Lil Cuz, he began, but I stopped him. He did not force me, nor did he con me. It is what I want and what he wants. It wasn't our first time. Clarence shook his head. I almost thought I saw a tear in his eye. So you really gay, son? It was my turn to look at him strangely. Like, bitch, I'm running around here popping my ass every day. I'm on the phone gossiping every day. I twist more than any girl you know, like, bitch, you for real. So I looked at him strangely. Nah, nigga, it's just a phase. You don't know what you saying. You just gotta get you some pussy. He offered as the solution. My only solution was Mike. This story happened way before I even knew what a prison was. Somebody asked if I got turned out in prison. This happened. I went to prison openly gay. This happened way before prison. I'm like 14 when this happened. For the next week, I went into a deep depression. I missed Mike something terrible. Clarence had forbidden Mike to come over and threatened to expose us if Mike did. I despised Clarence for that. Who is he? Yeah, he was young, 14, way before prison. No, it's not the same Mike. Y'all, check this out. This is Michael Collins, that was Michael Fernandez. There's two different Mikes. Y'all got that? This is y'all got that? It's not the same Mike. The other Mike, this is two different mics. It's two different mics. They're nothing similar. They both crazy. This is Michael Collins. This is a whole different mic. This is two different mics. I'm gonna say. So I despised Clarence for that, and I rarely talked to him for that week. See, I would just give him like, he'd try to talk, and I'd be like, yep, nope, maybe, I don't know. Yeah, this is not that same Mike. They just happen to have the same first name. I guess, I don't know why, but they just, okay. So, yes, very different mics. Very different mics. Very different mics. Completely different mics. They're nowhere, like in my mind, their just name is the same. Like I don't even really kind of, I don't even see them as even close to being the same. Yes, it's two different mics. I'm sorry. I should have clarified that because I guess people just didn't, like, y'all don't see them. I see them in my head, and they're two different mics. We're going to get to that in a minute, Torian. What's going on, Torian, sister? What's going on? No, stop. I didn't know you was up here. We're going to get to that second. They both crazy, okay? For the next week, I went to the T-Pam asked about Mike, but was led to believe that it was a male spat that would blow over. Boys will be boys, she told me one day when I had the gall to ask her into talking to Clarence into letting Mike come over. So, because what I did was, I'm going to go tell, because I was like, T-Pam, why is they paying each other? You should tell him he should let Mike come over. That's wrong. Girl, T-Pam was like, boys will be boys. Girl, no, T-Pam, call my nigga. um, Clarence tried without success to do things with me, but I ignored him as much as humanly possible. When I could not ignore him, I answered with 2 or 3 words. He wanted to hang with me until the gay was gone, I suppose. One day, he brought 2 girls over to the house. One was his boo of the week, the other was her little sister. Their plan was the little sister would be for me. When it was hinted at, and when it was hinted at, and I figured out what the play was, I laughed in the girl's face. I could not believe Clarence was serious. I ridiculed the girl from head to toe. Bitch, when I tell you I read this whole from head to toe, I started with her forehead and made fun of everything from her clothes to her knock knees. Bitch, I read that whole for nothing. I'm talking about, bitch. I had Clarence and he about her own sister laughing at my jokes about her. The girl started crying. In her anger, she called me a fag. I didn't get mad. I laughed at her and started on her buck teeth. Like, oh, I'm a fag. Bitch, it's no tea. Let's talk about these teeth that you got in your mouth. Bitch, you know, bitch, bitch, you giving me Bugs Bunny right now, sister. Bitch, when I tell you I raised this whole girl. Girl, I raised this whole. Girl, don't y'all ever play with me like that. Girl, where's Mike? I got stuff for y'all. Okay, so this play was this play was an utter disaster. Neither Clarence nor I got any pussy that night. And he never tried that again. Bitch, oh my God. I don't know. I don't remember the girl name. But I had saw her not too long ago. She still live in New Orleans, girl. And she had hollered at me and stuff like that. She know I'm shaking now. So if she watching, I don't know if she watches this or whatever. But shout out to you. I don't remember her name, but I remember her face when I'm seeing her. Bitch, I read that whole bitch. Oh Lord. Ain't nobody got no pussy that night. Nobody. I read that. All right. I yearn for Mike. I wanted to find him. I pray we see him on one of our outings, but we never did. I didn't know their project, and so I had no idea what building his mom's apartment was in. I also knew they didn't have a phone. I hated what Clarence did, and I let him know as much by the way I asked to support him. No cell phones during this time, only house phones. I think there was pages, but nobody had that. That's what it was. One night, I woke Clarence up with my crying for Mike. I think this is what convinced him I was really in love. Because the next day, T-Pam and I went to buy groceries at the corner store. When we returned, Clarence came up to me and told me to go into his room. He said there was something there for me. I skipped off to his room, and there, sitting on the bed, was Mike. I didn't think. I flew into his arms. Tears welled into my eyes, and he hugged me so tight. He was smiling from ear to ear, with his dimples impressed deep in his face. He was like, chill, T-Pam, I'm here. Sorry, I said, as I got up and wiped my face. You miss a nigga like that? He asked if he was surprised at my reaction with seeing him. What you think, boy? Clarence came into the room and closed the door. Check it. I don't condone or agree with that punk ass shit y'all doing at all. But that's on y'all. I fucks with both of y'all. Plus, right now, I was gonna find your ass hanging from the ceiling fan if you ain't see this nigga. I laughed because I couldn't stop smiling. Your cousin and I talked. I told him how strong I really felt about you, so he agreed I could start coming back over. Mike explained. I don't want ever witness y'all doing none of that freaky ass, gay ass shit, Clarence warned, and he agreed to keep our secret. He then left the room to give us a little time alone. Mike and I talked. He explained to me that he had been missing me like I had been missing him. He never knew that he could love someone like that, and he had grown to love me. I think that I stopped just loving him that night. It is this point that I could say I really fell in love with him. That afternoon, T-Pan went to Bible study at the church, and Clarence went hang with his other friends. Mike and I made love. He kissed me in the mouth, tonguing me down for the first time. He became the first man to do this as well, and it was the most passionate expression I ever felt. That night, Clarence gave us the bed. He began sleeping on the sofa more, so Mike and I shared the bed often. We were hugged up the whole night. If T-Pam would have walked in, she would have had 6 concussions, 6 consecutive heart attacks. But I didn't care. I could not let my man go. Everything about Mike felt right to me. I felt the strength of the world in his muscular arms. I felt safe and content in the presence of his heartbeat. I understood us to feel perfect and wonderful and magical. What I didn't understand was how could anyone say something that is felt is wrong? I didn't understand I could be wrong for feeling happy. With Mike, I felt so natural and pure. I loved it. Through him, for the very first time, I felt completely comfortable in my own skin. I felt free. I found myself in him. Hiding me always hurt. It felt fake and unnatural. It felt wrong. Hiding who I am was next to impossible. With Mike, I let go. I let me out, and letting myself out felt free and so easy. Mike shared in my feelings and how he felt. Rodney, he said, the world ain't gonna like or understand us for the time we gotta keep it between us and class. So you shaming me, I asked? Not even close. I love you. There's no way I'm ever letting you go. You're mine forever. I'm the first, only, and last. I blushed. You're the only thing about my life that feel right. You entrusted me with all you have in this world. With your manhood. You chose me. For that, I love you. I feel that. Ain't no way I'm letting these feelings go. That summer passed entirely too fast. I fell in love with Mike a whole new way every day. I don't know how T-Pam just didn't see how I was head over heels for him. He fell in love with me too, deep and totally. No one else in the world existed to us. Then, how important is 6 size? You mean dick size? I'm of course still cool, my cousin. Then reality came. Y'all read. Let's go get another. I'm gonna answer. Hold y'all questions. Hold y'all questions. Y'all comment amongst yourselves. But we go. Y'all, everything will be answered. And what I don't answer, y'all can write your questions down. Then reality came. Summer was over, and I had to go back downtown to the 7th Ward. It was a world away, and even though New Orleans is such a small city, the 7th and the 3rd Ward were a world away from Mike and me. For me, Uptown may as well have been Mars, and for Mike, downtown was a war zone. At the end of Canal Street that separates the Uptown and downtown, there are 2 huge cemeteries. During the school year, Mike and I would meet there and talk and make love after school. Now, this sounds weird, but there are open mausoleums. New Orleans is below sea level, and no one can be buried underground in the city limits. So Mike and I had found one and cleaned it out. We had candles, blankets, petroleum jelly there. Every now and then we'd meet up for a quick at McDonald's or Popeye's bathroom, or I'd give him some head on the back of a public bus. But the cemetery was our love-making spot. Okay, now listen. Before you think of a cheap tawdry slut, a bitch gotta do what she gotta do. Back in the Gap, we ain't had our own house, none of that little stuff like that. We had, so I'm like 15 at a time, and bitch, this is what we gotta do. Booty shaking at the time became became a popular and very competitive sport in New Orleans for teenagers. Twerking was as important as football in the city that originated the style of dance. I hung with all girls who were good booty shakers. And so I, of course, began shaking mine too. Soon, though, I could twerk better than any of the girl you could put next to me. During the time, I earned a nickname Shakie Baby. It came from a local MC who said I looked like a baby, and every time he'd see me dance, he'd yell, "Shakie Baby," on the mic. Everyone shortened it to Shakie, though. Even though Mike told me not to tell anyone about our relationship, I told all my BBGs about him. So look, he told me, like, keep the relationship between me, you, and Clarence. Bitch, I told the BBGs about everything about him. Like, the whole thing. Yeah, Popeye's bathroom and the cemetery, wow. I mean, I was young. I mean, you know, hey. Yeah, I mean, this is my truth. This is my truth. I'm not this, you know, it's not excusing, I just did it. The spirits was watching, the spirits getting stifled so eyes, bitch, because I was taking that dick like a motherfucking pro. Okay. Well, you need to teach me how to shake it, shake it. I mean, I don't shake it, but it's a long time ago. That is how I got the name Shake It, which is another story for another day. The whole story. Because there's a story to it. Midway through the school year, another homosexual from the St. Bernard started hanging with us. His name was Edward, but everyone called him Eva. Eva became my understudy in all aspects of our life. He also was tall, dark-skinned, and because we hung together so much, many people thought we were related, but we really wasn't. Eva was 2 years younger than me, and so he was under me in the hierarchy of our project, so I looked at him as a daughter. Eva also was messy as all outdoors. This is a messy bitch. Shout out to you, Eva. What's going on, sister? If y'all know Saban already, this is her little sister, really. This is her little brother, but this is her little sister. Anybody know this stuff? Anybody know people out of New Orleans? Since I'm not from New Orleans, they say. But same with already, this is Eva, her little sister. He would start arguments and controversy with any and everyone and then run to us to get him out of it. So this is what Eva used to do back then. He just knew we would have his back. So he used to go start mess and all kind of stuff. I was in my soul, girl. What were you talking about? Keep my chin up in my soul. Girl. What you mean? I don't understand. Thank you, Binks K. He was the type to throw rocks and hide his hand. He also had an unkind knack to say the right things to push people's buttons. The bitch could read. So she was really my daughter. One day the BGBGs and I were walking down Canal Street and passing McDonald's. Who do I see but Mike and Janelle in the parking lot holding hands? Now, I certainly thought I knew for a fact. Yeah, something to say. Yep. You know, it's her. I changed it to Edwin in the book, but her name is Eli for real. I changed the Edwin in the book for just we used to call her Eva, but her name is really Eli. It's name is not real too. All right. I wish my dad was old enough to drive and buy liquor because she sure would be taking a ride to the store for me right now. I need that for refill. Okay. I certainly thought that Mike liked my boy pussy better than Janelle's girl pussy. Mike always did a great job of making me feel like I was better than Janelle in every way. He made me feel like he loved me, and she was just for show in front of the fellas. I never really had to witness Mike and Janelle together. It was in the back of my mind, but never in my sight until now. I was angry and hurt at seeing this. But what added so... Yeah, T.S. Eva. Yeah, she's a tranny now. She wasn't tranny then. We used to call her Eva. She was tranny now, yeah. What added so much fuel to the fire was Eva's messy words in my ear. Oh no, Miss Shakie girl, you ain't you ain't gonna let Trey play on you like that with fish. Eva said while the BBGs looked at me, the leader, with eyes basically asked me what I was gonna do. Trey is what we call a male who messed around on a DL, and fish is what we homosexuals nickname real women. Oh, for real? What Eva said to me was all I had to hear. I ran across the street and right up to Janelle and popped her in the head with my fist. I hit the poor girl with all my emotionally charged might. I don't fight girls, I don't fight women, but you know, this happened when I'm 15 years old. I didn't know no better. So don't go talking about I'm a woman beater because they'll change this up. Check it, bitch, women. She fell to the ground screaming. Mike instinctively then popped me, and I fell to the ground. Then Mike saw my whole crew coming to my aid, so he picked Janelle up and they ran around the block. My crew came and helped me up. I wasn't really hurt. I was much angrier and more heartbroken. Seeing them leave together hurt me more than him hitting me. I felt like he had chosen her and put me in my place. We caught the broad bus back downtown and I went home. I was depressed. I ran directly into the room I shared with my little brother, and soon my mother walked in. Why are you going around beating up girls over their boyfriends, she asked. I looked at her as if she was crazy. Surely you tried it. No step. She sat on my bed and explained that Janelle's mom had called T. Pam, who then called my mother. Mike apparently had told her a bold-faced lie. He said that I liked him and he was mad because he turned me down. It got back to my mother like I couldn't understand rejection. That hurt me even more. So I was like, oh no. So I told Shirley the entire truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. I spilled the tea to my mom. Every grimy detail from the first time at T. Pam's to the last time at the cemetery. I explained how Mike was basically my first and only everything. And I explained to my mother how I fell in love with this man. This man was my man, and that's how I view him. Ma, I popped that girl because she was holding my man's hand. I admitted through tears. I brought up the fact that what I did failed in comparison to what I heard she had done to some of my father's mistresses. We didn't have a car at the time, so my mother borrowed our neighbor's car and drove me to the graveyard where I showed her Mike and I's mausoleum. She collected our things, and then we went to the Calio. Clarence, T-Pam, and Mike were all there. Mike was staying there permanently by then. T-Pam instantly figured out that something was going on with Mike and I, and so in front of Shirley, Clarence, T-Pam, and me, who was standing there crying like a baby, Mike could not deny our relationship when confronted with my version from my mother. He admitted to everything and almost cried himself. Miss Shirley, it's not what you think. I really do love Ronnie. Mike looked at me. I was never trying to hurt him. My mother went off on Mike. I tried to calm her down. She went in. Ooh, she went in. But Shirley was like an untamed lioness when trying to protect her cubs. She openly apologized to me for not fully believing me at first. I admitted to being gay right there and in love with Mike. I also stated too, there is really nothing anybody could do about it. My son, I love you. Nothing you ever do will change that. And you will be who you are. Nothing will ever change that either. But I ain't gonna have you sneak around in no damn graveyards and in no public bathrooms to get arrested or worse, gay bad, she told me. She then turned to Mike. Young man, you want to see my son? He has a home and a family that loves him. You should come by there and find it out because you will not see him in a cemetery any longer. That's very true. I remember my mama, and the look in her eyes was like she have a family that love him. Like it was with such conviction. And I love my mama so much for that because it like put me in a different mindset about who I am and how I should be taken care of. Mike nodded. I could feel he felt some type of shame, and maybe he wanted to say something, but he remained silent. I'm not the smartest woman in the world, and I don't know much about this, but maybe try to admit who you are to yourself first, Shirley told Mike. She looked him up and down. Everyone else was silent. I can see what Rodney sees in you, though. You are a cutie. She walked over to Mike and gave him a hug. I cried more. I'm sure I never fully stopped. Mike came over and hugged me. Stop crying, he said. He whispered in my ears. I'm sorry. I love you. After this, my mother and I left T-Pam's and got in the car. You are not a slut, son. Anyone you decide to be with should treat you with respect and dignity. If anyone wants to take you to bed, regardless of sexuality, he should have the respect to do it in the bed. Now, I'm surely not holier than thou, and I'm not judging, but you are going to be you at home. I have no choice but to accept who you are and what you're going to discover about yourself. When Tiff was at your age and started to find out she liked boys, I would always rather she had a boyfriend come to the house so I could keep an eye on her rather than her going to sneak around and do whatever in the streets. So I would allow your boyfriend to. I looked at her like she could not possibly know what she was talking about. Wait, what about my brothers? I asked. Bear was at the time in prison, but Randall, Rhonda, and Daryl, who was beginning to understand that I was more feminine than the norm, could be a handful for me. Randall especially used my obvious sexuality against me often when we had disagreements. Well, Rodney, at some point, they will have to accept who you are, while not force them to see it in action. We can't worry about disrespecting them because we are disrespecting you if we force you to run and hide who you are in your own home. They flaunt who they are in front of you, don't they? I nodded, because my brothers used to have girls. Oh, child. It didn't even make no sense. They was real live hoes. Then we will put you in their face and make them deal with it. Oh, okay, I said timidly. She smiled. I got your back. I love you, Ma, I said. I love you too. That's very true. Just like that is exactly how I am. Real talk, I'll never forget that. The next Sunday, Mike came over to my mother's house for the first time. He met Tiff, who he got along with pretty good. Ronnie was okay with them, as he was with me. He usually didn't care about much. Ronnie really like my dad. He just don't give a fuck. He usually didn't care about much. And once he found out that Mike smoked weed, they became kindred spirits. Daryl later told me at first he felt weird meeting the man who was laying the pipe on his big brother, but Mike charmed him with sports talk. It was Randall who had the most to say, as fucking usual. He made a few off-the-wall comments. I had warned Mike, though, about Dale, and so Mike never dignified him with a response or much acknowledgments. Our first evening together went through without a hitch. Mike met the family, and then he and I chilled on the porch for the afternoon. I walked him to the bus stop, and he left. The first time went rather successfully, so Mike started coming over more often. We mostly sat on the porch and talked. He would steal kisses when no one was looking, but we had a chance. We made love in the bed a few times when no one was home, and once when the Saints game was on, no one was paying attention. I didn't think it was possible, but I fell in love with him so much more. He swore to me that he had stopped seeing Janelle, but I was all the way downtown, so I didn't have much of a hand on what was going on uptown. Remember, girl, ain't had no Instagram. Now, if they did, I don't know if I thought. And I probably would have made my way uptown and bopped her again. Okay, let's just go and continue. One weekend he was over, and Graham finally met him. She had been hearing the family gossip about him for a couple months. She made it a point to come to our house. He would not go to her project home because he knew that the Cali and the Sampano were beefing at that time. Mike was especially respectful to her. He had known a lot about her from T-Pan. He charmed her too, and she fell instantly in love with him. One day I was at her house, and she gave me some sage old advice. Lollipop, you got yourself a man, but my muffin, you ain't gonna keep him unless you know how to cook for him. Graham had a habit of calling me a variety of names. All of them had something to do with sweets. I think in her own way, she was making fun of my feminine mannerisms, but I could never tell her anything. So Graham would call me, like, it's not Lollipop one of my name or nothing like that. It would be pudding, sugar dumpling, sweet cakes, beignet, whatever is powdered sugar, whatever is sweet, sugar cane, anything sweet. And that would be my name. After that, when we were together, she would bring me into the kitchen and teach me what she knew about cooking, which was a lot. I was so excited to be learning to cook for him. I quickly learned Mike's likes and dislikes in dishes. Mike loves seafood, and he loves spice. With Graham's tutelage, I had begun to experiment with different dishes until I learned his taste to a T. This was a source of fun for us, like a little game. When I knew he was coming over, I have something ready for him. We generally eat, make love, and he would catch the bus back uptown. Over that year, our relationship developed and grew to the point that I was madly in love with him. By the end of the year, Mike learned that he would be repeating the 11th grade, and he decided not to go back to school. He began selling heroin, which was by far New Orleans' drug of choice at the time. He quickly began having lots of money. He bought a car, a Toyota Camry, and he taught me how to drive it. He had put some big chrome rims and a sound system in it, and he began coming pick me up from school sometimes. Some of the girls and other gay boys at my high school were very jealous of me over this. I had a real life boyfriend with a nice car. This was attention that I courted, though. I courted this attention. I used to love to make them hoes mad. This was attention I courted because this is why. In my family, Bear being a jack boy was his claim to hood fame. The twins were popular just because they were twins. Tiffany was the only girl, and Dara was the baby. Me being gay and having a boyfriend was my key to being talked about, and I loved it. Because I ain't really had none. I was just a smart kid. Everybody had something. I have nothing. But I had him, so I was good. I trusted Mike blindly. I used to stash some of his drugs in my room in my mother's house. She did not know that then. She might know it now, thanks to this. But I ended up hiding one of his guns there as well. I knew Mike would never tell me or ask me to do anything that he didn't need. He brought us matching pages, beepers. Then he would page me all day, sometimes just to see what I was cooking for him. Sometimes we'd go ride out to the lake and eat and just lay out. We ended up having sex in his car a lot. In the New Orleans dancing circuit, I began to make a little name for myself and began dancing for a locally popular bounce music MC. With that, I would perform in and around New Orleans area as a backup dancer in nightclubs, private parties, and halls. Mike came to a couple of club performances. With my notoriety came the questions about why he hung around me. Mike was really to the point where he was unconcerned with what people thought about him. He would usually just ignore people that questioned our relationship or whatever dealings he had with me. He explained that he did not give a flying fuck about what people outside of he and I did or did not understand about he and I. So at this point, I'm not really into the gay scene in New Orleans, really. But I had finally discovered the gay scene in New Orleans, and I took to it like a duck to water. After only a while, I was going to gay clubs in the gay section of New Orleans on a regular. Mike never came to any gay club with me, which I never really understood because if he and I was in a straight club, he'd buy me drinks and basically parade me around like his bitch. Mike had got me so spoiled. His drug money afforded him things he never really got as a kid. Going to the mall and spending hundreds of dollars on me, shoes and clothes became the norm. We were hood rich and I had gotten used to this type of life. Mike and I talked about getting an apartment together when I graduated from high school. I wanted to go to college for politics back then. I was immensely popular or notorious in high school, depending on whom got asked. I won class president by a landslide. I was president of the student council and was a natural born leader. Under my command, the BBGs had become one of the most revered cliques downtown. So when someone asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up, my answer was quickly the first black and gay president. I really wanted to be the first black and gay president. Even though New Orleans is a fairly progressive southern city, this was a time where being gay was not the coolest thing. Everyone in my world knew about Mike, and the people in his world that mattered knew about me. Mike still though never identified with being gay. He didn't feel that I was his boyfriend. Simultaneously, he never really called me his girlfriend either. I was just his. He treated me like I was all his. But I was insanely faithful to him. All right. I didn't want to look bad in the book because you're gonna find out what happens in a few minutes. It's like 5 more pages, so we're almost there. But I did cheat on Mike one time. With this dude named Terrence that I went to school with. But this bitch was so fine, and I just had to eat. So I did cheat on him one time. In the book, I don't talk about it because it would be just too much to explain how that went and why and stuff like that. And but I did eat on somebody else. I sucked somebody else's dick. I did. I can't even lie right here. So this part of the book is fiction. I don't know why I didn't just. I think because it was just too much to explain, and I didn't want to take away from the Mike story, but I'm a truthful person. But this book is. I did change some stuff, but that's one of the things I changed too. I was not insanely faithful to him. I did eat on somebody else. He used to tell me how he knew every one of my boy pussy walls and could tell if someone had been in his house. We had so much sex. I believed him, so I never cheated. I ate. I didn't get fucked, but I did eat. I was young, and I'm still human, and I looked a lot. I've told, dude, oh my God, I forgot I did talk about this, but I even flirted hell of it with this one boy who was in my class, but I never went so far as to kiss anyone other than Mike. That's fiction. Because I did just eat that same boy I'm talking about. Because of my relationship with Mike, other gay men went after him. He used to tell me about all their attempts at garnering his attention. He swore he never entertained it and that he never gave them so much as a smile or any indication that they could give him. I loved him. I gave him everything I had, my virginity, my heart, and my trust. I gave him my respect, my honor, and my loyalty. I can honestly say Mike gave me everything that I needed. He put a lot on the line for me and our relationship, and he did what he could to give me everything I wanted, except one thing. I was not raised in the LGBT lifestyle by other gays. In my family's weird way of loving me, I got adversity, but it never threw me out in the streets. So by the time I ventured into the gay lifestyle, I had been gay and in a relationship for years. So I didn't really understand the world of tops, bottoms, and versatiles. The gay life was whatever I wanted it to be without labels and codes. Sexually, I would learn Mike was a strict top, and I was his bottom. For my sexual needs as a teenager, I'd have to take care of them alone. Eventually, though, Mike got comfortable enough and started instructing me to jerk off while he was inside me. This was his idea of adding spice to our sexual relationship. Mike loved to fuck me. Sometimes he would just get inside me and not even stroke. He called it this marinade. He would do everything from sticking his fingers inside me to licking me there. He was literally obsessed with my ass. I wanted to experience what he saw in that. Not to mention Mike was fine. He had a nice butt himself. So naturally, I wanted to experience that he found so much joy in. So I asked Mike to let me fuck him. Mike adamantly denied that. I got enough dick for both of us, he'd say. Or things like, I'm a pitcher, you a catcher. That's what we good at. We gotta stick to the script and play our position. Once I reached around and touched Mike's ass during sex, and he didn't do anything. So I grabbed it, and then he didn't seem to flinch at all. Then I stuck my finger in the crap, and he popped me upside the head. Little did he know that he was developing an obsession within me. You know, because like, you know how you tell a child, yes, girl, I like how you said that, Ricardo. You my new sister, girl. I should mind you for that comment. But so real trade don't bottom, LOL. Okay. So but this is what it is. You know how when you tell a child you can't have something? Bitch, you want it, bitch. You fucking, I want this. I really want this now, bitch. Your ass sitting up there in my face all the time, bitch. You let me touch it every now and then, bitch. I want it. Our relationship felt free, and I certainly did not understand where he was coming from with this restriction. I wanted it more because he told me I couldn't have it. This periodically, I would build my case to experience this aspect of him. This one request became the source of our few and far between spats. He get mad that I would even ask him that. I get mad not only at the fact that he would automatically say no, but also the fact that he got mad at me asking him something. I did not understand much about how it made him feel. I only knew that I didn't feel like that, and I didn't see it his way. He in return did not at all see mine. It was a stalemate that felt like he won because I loved his attention, affection, and dick too much to make a stance on what I wanted to experience. If for 1 second I thought he would leave me, I would have never brought it up again. If I thought that boy would stay, look, if you asked me that again, I'm gonna leave you, I would have not talked about it. Oh. Mike and I's relationship, however, grew still, despite this bump in the road. The freedom I felt with him and the ability for him to be himself with me had endeared us to each other. The bond was strong and tight. Once I had cooked for him, and he seemed rather distant. My shrimp scampi was one of my favorite dishes for him to have eat, and for him to have eaten, I knew something was wrong. When he didn't want to make love, I demanded to check his blood pressure. On this day, I witnessed him cry. He laid his head on my lap, and I sat on the edge of the bed, stroking his face while he wept. He explained to me that he had seen his mother and that she was doing bad. She apparently had located him and had asked him to serve her some of his product. Her request had broken him down. I ended up crying with him. I saw his lowest through his tears, and even though I didn't understand it completely, I knew that I had to own his burdens with him. Yeah. Over the following summer, which is heading into my senior year of high school, Mike bought all Dara and I's school stuff. Shorty thanked for him for that act of easing a little burden off her, and so she promised to get some food for him when her food stamps came in. So with that happening right around the time Mike and I celebrated our anniversary, it made sense for me to do it up. I asked Graham if I could borrow her Project Palmer on the night that my mother and her were taken to the casino in Biloxi. She agreed. You know, when the casinos in Mississippi like first started opening, they used to give all them free bus rides and shit. There was on one of them. She agreed when I explained I was planning an intimate evening with my man for our anniversary. I was planning the perfect evening, and everything seemed to be falling in place. I would have Graham's house all to myself, on with Shirley's food stamps and my man. Nothing could be better than that. Before they left for the casino, Graham helped me prepare the meal. Crawfish fettuccine, shrimp scampi, fried catfish, and seafood gumbo were piping hot on the stove. I put a lot of time and effort into our anniversary dinner. As the crowning achievement, Graham made us a 7-Up cake. Her famous 7-Up cake is a bundt cake made with 7-Up. Graham's is delicious. And a staple of this type of cake is a scoop or two of blueberry or homemade vanilla flavored ice cream on the side. The sheer memory of this type of cake makes my mouth water. I have not had that type of cake since that night. I was ready, and Mike was late. I was not ready at first, but the sight of my man walking in the door with a drugstore teddy bear and a greeting card made me forget that he was late. After all these years, the teddy bear and greeting card are among my most valued possessions. Mike and I sat at Graham's table and ate. We laughed and talked about the ups and downs of the last 3 years had dealt us. And then he talked about our future. We agreed that he would not sell drugs forever. He wanted to open a barbershop and beauty salon. He wanted me to go to school for business so that I could manage it. He liked that I managed his drug money for him, so he felt that I was good for that type of work. After I asked him if he was happy with what I had done for our anniversary, he smiled and said yes. He asked me if I was happy with him. Yes, very. You're almost everything I want a man, I replied as I brought up the 7-Up cake and set it on the table. He knew exactly where that was going. Oh no, Shakie, not that shit again. Mike, I love you, and I'm in love with you. That's with all my heart. We're gonna be together forever. I just don't see for the life of me what the big deal is, I exclaimed. You must don't see how you be shaking that ass you got. He asked rhetorically. I make that happen. That's my work. And I ain't fixing to be walking around here like that. Shakie, I'm the man. I'm your man. I was irate. I want to feel crazy over you like you feel over me. That's what my dick for. Mike, that's just not fair. Fuck no. And that's my final answer, Shay. I pouted. He rarely cursed me. I know he was upset, and so I didn't want to ruin our anniversary, so I let up. Life ain't fair, but he let up. He went on for about a minute about how it just wasn't going to happen. He wanted me to stop asking him that. I didn't want to fuss, so I got up and started massaging his back. He positioned me to sit on his lap, and we got into kissing session. I felt him rising. I said, well, babe, we got to eat at least some of Graham's cake. I'll never hear the end of it if she come back here and this cake ain't got some pieces out and we don't tell her it's the best cake on earth. I got off of him and walked over to the refrigerator and opened the freezer part. I dug around in the freezer for a minute. What, babe? He said as he came and held me from behind. No ice cream, I replied. Nah, if any of y'all from New Orleans, if you're not from New Orleans, I gotta explain something to you. In New Orleans, 7-Up cake eaten without blueberry ice cream is not only against tradition and taste, but I strongly believe it's against the law. I think you could go to jail for that. I don't know, but I think they could arrest you or cite you for that. So devoid of ice cream, Mike and I debated on how we were going to eat the cake. We truly didn't know because we had never been faced with such a dilemma. Fuck, I'll just go run to Spiders and get a couple of pints as I offer. Nah, babe, you did all this cooking and shit. I'll go run across the street and get the ice cream. You sure, Mike? I asked, looking at him strangely. Yeah, babe. He responded as he got up and grabbed his car keys. I was glad he was offering to go, as I wasn't really dressed to go to the store. Added a muscle shirt and a pair of Speedos in preparation for our obligatory lovemaking after the meal. Mike walked out of the kitchen area and turned around and looked at me. I blushed. What? He smiled. Shakie, I love you, yeah. Why you love me, Mike? because you deserve to be loved, he said. He had the sound of maturity in his voice. It was deep and serious, and I felt it hard in my heart. I love you too, I said softly. He walked up close to me and wrapped me in his arms. He kissed me on my forehead, but didn't let go. I could feel his heartbeat, which I swore was in sync with mine. Shake, if I give you what you really want for your anniversary, you gotta promise you ain't gonna ask for that shit no more. It's a one-time deal. I'm gonna let you see what it's here for, and that's it. You have your fucking experience, and it's over after that. Stop playing, Mike, I said in disbelief as I broke our embrace. I'm not playing, but you gotta promise if I do this for you, that you ain't gonna ask for it no more. I was like, you high? I asked not believing him for a moment, but almost excited. I'm for real, babe. I'm gonna let you do it only because I love you too fucking much to let the stupid ass shit you trying to experience come between us. I can let you do it one time if you can promise you ain't gonna think about it no more. I promise. I stated automatically. It hit me that in his eyes, he was making a sacrifice of this thought process for me. I expected that so much, and I loved him more for agreeing to go through what could be a redefinition of his intimate sexual identity. Let me go get this ice cream so we can eat this cake and get down to business. In my mind, I was thinking, forget Graham and the cake. She's got to take her, she's gonna take her lick. I was finally going to see what all the fuss was over. But was over. I had never done anything like that before, and I was nervous, scared, and excited all at the same time. I anxiously awaited, yet 20 minutes had passed, and there was no mic. 30 minutes after that, there was still no mic. An hour later, no sign of Mike. I began paging him nonstop. I didn't get a call back, and I was angry as hell. I started cursing his name. The only thing that was going through my mind was that he chickened out. I was angry because there was no reason to leave me hanging on our anniversary. All he had to do was tell me no. He didn't have to lie or fake me out. I really didn't even care and wanted to tell him that the fact that he was willing to go through it for me was enough. I loved him with every will of me. And through that love, I had to respect the decision he made about his body. And all my mad as hell rage, I finally fell asleep around 2 in the morning. It was early morning when my pager went off. Oh, he finally decided to hit me back. I thought already getting the cases I was going to build against him together in my mind. All right, my bad. It was early. Oh God, what was I? I was going to build against him, but it was my sister. I looked at the time set on the page, and it was almost 6 in the morning. I wasn't in the mood for her at the moment, so I paged Mike and fell back to sleep. Graham and Shirley came in around 8 in the morning. They woke me up off the sofa. Graham wanted to hear all about the romantic night. I told her it wasn't so romantic, and I explained it later. My mom was running on about some police tape around spiders, and she asked if I heard something last night. I shook my head. I picked up the phone, and I paged Mike. I returned Tiff's call while I waited for him to call back. Honestly, the conversation with my sister is a bit of a blur at this point. She said some words. Mike, dead, shot, killed, news. I think I accused her of lying, but Graham was given the phone somehow while I stared off into space. I remember my grandmother telling my mother to turn on the TV. I remember my mother doing it. I remember the anchor talking about the murder of a 19-year-old unidentified black male being gunned down in the 7 War. It's not Mike, I said to myself. Graham was on the phone with Tiff while explaining what happened to Shirley. The hood knew it was Mike, even though the news didn't identify him. The police were looking for 3 suspects. Shirley hugged me, and when Graham got off the phone, she did too. I believe I shed a few tears, but when they let go of me, I paged Mike. He didn't call back. I still didn't know. I still didn't. I don't know. I just sat there for I don't know how long. Um, Later that day, the calls and visits came. The BBGs who were telling me what the hood was saying happened. T. Pam, who was trying to find Mike's mother. Clarence, who contacted Mike's sister. Daryl, who felt my pain, and the twins even all came to see about me. But I didn't need them to come and see about me. I needed Mike to come and see about me. Every hour on the hour, I paged him, but he never called back. I found out that night when it hit me almost that I caused my first love, my only love, to get killed over my selfishness. It was all my fault. I destroyed Mike like I had shot him myself. A week later, I just happened so long ago. I have no idea why this has hurt me. I have cried over this 1,000 times, y'all. 1,001 times I have cried over this. This happened so long ago. This is the 90s. I have no idea why this hurts me right now. I do not know. I have told this story before. I have talked to people about this. I have wrote it in a book. I do not know why this shit is hurting like this. I did not know this was gonna do this. I'm sorry. Excuse me 1 second, please. I do not know why the fuck. Because I have talked about this. I've come to terms with this. I have lived through this 100 million times. I do not know why this feels like this right now. So just give me 2 seconds. I'm coming. I have grieved over this. I have grieved over this. I have cried every tear that is to cry. Yes, I do. All right. I'm coming. All right. So, a week later, Mike's funeral was held at T. Pam's church. In the casket, Mike's body lay like he was sleeping. He had on his handsome face the same sneer he had the first time he caught me looking at him 3 summers prior. The week leading up to the funeral was a mess for me. I don't quite remember the events leading up to it. I just remember existing in a state of non-belief. Seeing his body there, I relived our entire relationship. I sat on the second row with Clarence and T. Pam. The rest of my family was on the third row. On the first row was Mike's sister, who was very pregnant, his mother, who looked stunning, and a few of his other relatives. It didn't appear to me that his mother had any addiction. Janelle sat on the other side of the second row. After the conclusion of the preacher's sermon and eulogy, which included a rant about youth gun violence in New Orleans, there was a final viewing of the body. The ushers went row by row and allowed people to get up and go to the casket to pay their final respects for the last time. The first row went and came back. Then the ushers came to our row. I got up along with Clarence and T. Pam. We let an older lady pass, and then we followed her. I was behind my cousin, but in front of Janelle. Clarence spent a minute silently talking to the man who had been like a brother to him for most of their lives. Then it was my turn. As I walked up and saw the man that I love more than anything on this planet laying there, it hit me, and I lost it. I started hollering and crying. I was inconsolable, and it got crazy. If they didn't know a thing about me, it was obvious by my carrying on that I was someone who loved Mike. The ushers came up and started fanning me, but this made it worse. I started screaming and kicking so much they had drugged me from the altar into the back of the church, into the waiting area. I was told later by Tip that everybody was looking at me like I was crazy. Respectfully, sis, I don't give a flying fuck, was my response. Then I broke down and fell into her arms, crying more. The Mike cleanup for me was hard. I ended up burning the drugs he had in my sister's house, as my mother's house, that I was stashing for him. The money I kept and I spent as I went along. Dating or moving on were the furthest things from my mind. I was stuck on him. The following year, I graduated from high school. I had a lot more time for books because I was Mikeless. I ended up graduating valedictorian. Had not Tiff graduated valedictorian 2 years prior, this would have been a big thing in my family. I wanted to just go. I stopped eating seafood altogether. It just tasted bland, and I could not eat so much as a shrimp without thinking of Mike. And I really don't even eat seafood to this day. I did not go to prom. I didn't dance much anymore. I started losing twerk battles, which was something I was not accustomed to while Mike was alive. Eventually, I retired from twerking. I began going to gay clubs heavy. It was a safe place. Mike had never been to one with me, and so was safe from his memories. My brother Bear came home to me being all the way gay, but by this time he could not parent me, and so we just became cordial. He never met Mike and did not understand what I went through. I eventually got an apartment. I could not live uptown or downtown because Mike's ghosts were everywhere. I found a spot in mid-city New Orleans, which is sandwiched between the two. I started college, and as Mike wanted, I went to school for business instead of political science. Eventually, I started dating again, but none of my relationships were successful or long. I was looking for Mike, and that was not fair to any of my suitors, as I did not find him at all in any of them. My life in total was mediocre at best. I was simply existing. I was not living. I missed Mike. Years later, Eve and I, who had grown to be great friends, were at Walmart. Eva got food stamps and would always treat me to a grocery shopping spree when his banners became available around the beginning of the month. As we were running around the frozen food section, I spotted Mike's mother. She was in the meat section. Mike had been dead for about 4 years at that point. I had only ever seen her at the funeral, but I would recognize her anywhere. She looked a lot better than when I seen her at the funeral, even though she, to me, looked stunning back then. She had gained some weight and looked very vibrant. Bitch, go talk to her, Eva said to me. I'm not going to talk to that woman, I replied. Oh, you killed her son and now you scared to go talk to her? Eva spotted with some play in his voice, followed by laughter. I didn't find it funny. I looked at him as if to warn him about the imminent popping, and so he got instantly quiet. But Eva was right. I had killed her son. That was exactly how I felt. It was baggage that I carried around with me everywhere. So I did decide to go talk to her. I told Eva to go get in the checkout line, and I walked over alone. Miss Collins, you may not remember me, but I'm Pamela. Well, oh, Jobs, my girl, that's my auntie real name I put in this damn book. I'm Pamela's nephew. I was a friend of your son. I said once I walked up to her. I extended my hand and she took it. Oh yeah, baby. You were at the funeral, she said. I could tell the first thing she remembered was how I acted at the funeral, but she didn't say anything about it. Yes, ma'am. I never got a chance to tell you how truly sorry I was about that. She smiled and looked at the ground briefly. She went on to tell me how she had gotten her life together after that. It's a shame that had to happen for me to get a turning point, she told me, how she quit using. She explained that she had a job at a nursing home and had moved out of the projects. She told me that all the three men that were involved in Mike's murder were caught and convicted. I had known this already, but I dared not interrupt her. The trigger man, which was a boy I had known all my life, had gotten life. The instigator, which is a guy who Mike had the beef with, was Drew. New Orleans is a small city, and Drew I had known because he was the guy I got caught up with in the car. Remember when I told you I got caught up in the car? Um, it's the same dude. Prior to Mike's death, I didn't even know that he and Drew had beef. And of course, Mike never knew I had dealings with Drew. Drew had gotten 20 years for his involvement. They had a co-conspirator who acted as a lookout that had also turned state on the entire situation, who had gotten 5 years. I didn't know him that well, but he would have been on his way home by this time in the story. Mike never liked going to my grandmother's project. He would much rather meet at my mom's house, which was not in the project. Uptown and downtown always had something going on in those days. Mike was from uptown, and he sold drugs, so in that life, a lot came with that. I assumed that the guys from my hood felt like Mike was out of territory. Mike was full of pride and bravado, and I can only imagine what the confrontation that culminated in his death was like. I should have not let him go out there that night. Talking to Mike's mother was almost like opening a new wound. It was a stroll down memory lane and back up to the present avenue. I learned that Mike's sister had given birth to a boy that she named him Mike, and that both Lil Mike and Mike's sister were doing well. She said that Lil Mike was just as terrible as his uncle was, and she began showing me pictures. Miss Shakie, girl, we gotta go. This frozen stuff gonna melt, Eva said, coming up to me. He had paid for the food and was waiting for me. Miss Collins looked at me strangely. Miss Collins, it was good talking to you, and I'm glad you're doing so much better. Mike was a good friend, and he is missed, I explained. Shakie, she questioned. Is that what he just said? Oh, I smiled while she looked at me strangely. I had just introduced myself as Rodney. It's just a nickname I've had since forever. We said our goodbyes and I walked off. Eva came with me to put my groceries away and then left to go back downtown. I was at my home in Mid-City where I lived alone. I was decompressing. Seeing Mike's mother had just opened up all kinds of stuff for me. I put on a poor minimizing mask, had Erykah Badu blasting through my stereo system, found a nice loose pair of pajama bottoms with my fuzzy bunny slippers, and began to roll up a blunt of marijuana to relax. I was smoking it during this time. Then my phone rang with a number I did not recognize. Hello, I answered with attitude. Had to be the student loan people, was the first thought that came to my mind, as they always seemed to call when I was mellow. Hello, I answered with an attitude. Rodney? Came the voice on the other end. This is she, I said, trying to place familiarity with the voice I was hearing. She? The, the woman's voice asked. Who is this? I retorted with so much attitude I could muster over the phone. This is Tracy Collins, Mike's mother. We saw each other earlier today. Oh, I'm so sorry, Miss Collins. This is me. Baby, I got your number from Pamela. I asked her some questions, and she said that I should talk to you. I hope that you don't mind. No, ma'am, I don't mind at all, I said inquisitively. What can I do for you? I'm not really sure, but I was hoping that you could give me some answers, she explained. Okay. You are gay, right? This is not what I expected her to ask me. My sexuality was so obvious at this point in my life. I had worn gay on my sleeves since Mike. I was not sure she was going to where she was going, so it took me a second to even answer, but before I could answer, she continued. I'm not trying to be offensive. I'm not judging either, but I learned a long time ago things are not always what they seem. But I'm really just trying to... You know what? Did you and my son have something going on? No, ma'am. I lied. I didn't know how to tell her that her son showed me that I could be me, and with him, I felt comfortable in my own skin. I didn't know how to tell her that Mike meant more to me than anything on this planet. I didn't know how to say to her I loved her son with every ounce of my being. I just could not tell her that his blood was on my hands and it was all my fault. Baby, I'm a mother. And even in the worst of me, I knew that my son was a hard, loving, and caring man. The last time I saw him, do you know what happened? No, ma'am, I said. I was looking for a fix. I heard my son was selling, so I located him off a corner uptown in the project. I asked my son to front me something. I tried to score for my own son. Mike did tell me about this a few weeks before his death, and so I remember it was the time he cried to me. I remained silent. Mike refused to sell or front me anything. He took me to a hotel room. He fed me and cleaned me up. He kept talking about he wanted me to get clean and get better. He told me he had met and fell in love, and that he wanted me to meet the person he fell in love with. I asked him what her name was. He laughed and explained that everyone called her Shakie. I remember distinctly because I was coming down from a high, and I asked him what kind of name was Shakie. He explained they were an excellent dancer. That night, my son gave me some money, brought some groceries, and brought me home. The next day, I got high with my son's money. The next thing I remember is your aunt finding me and telling me that my son had been killed. Now, Rodney, they caught the guys that did this to him. I never understood for the life of me what he was doing downtown in there. Of course, the police were quick to say that he was a known drug dealer and the places were to blame. I asked the girl Janelle if she had a nickname, and the answer was no. So I never found the mysterious girl Shakie who Mike was in love with. Now that I think about it, the way you acted at the funeral almost puts everything in perspective for me. I was in full tears by this time. You and Mike were more than just friends, weren't you? She asked. After a moment, I was able to squeak out, yes, ma'am. I knew it when your friend called your nickname today. You dance well? Not since Mike died, Miss Collins, I sobbed. Shakie, tell me. Let it out, she offered. Miss Collins, I can't. I just don't. I let him hang. Shakie, for years I've been trying to put together what happened for the last days of my son's life. If you share with me, maybe it could bring me some peace and some closure. But much more importantly, it sounds like it could bring you some too. I was not be able to be there to love him, and I must live with that. But you were there to love him. And love him I did, more than anything I said. As the tears flowed freely, I began to tell her everything. I told her about Mike and I's entire relationship. I told her how Mike showed me what love was. I told her how Mike showed me that no matter what I deserved to be loved. I told her about the last night. I told her how it was my fault. She listened intently. She only interrupted me only to say, it's not your fault, Shakie. I felt like that. I felt like she was being cordial. We talked for nearly 3 hours over the phone that night. I don't think I ever cried that much. After the conversation, I felt relieved. That night, I slept like a baby. I felt and dreamed that Mike was there with me. Miss Collins and I developed a relationship and kept in contact. Every year we go to place flowers on his grave together. I became a surrogate uncle to Lil Mike. I became the godfather to my cousin Clarence's first son, who he named Michael also. See, Pam still has pictures of Mike hanging on the wall, as he was like a son to her. My mother still talks about how Mike and I were, and compares anyone I date to him. No one yet passed her Mike test. On her deathbed, Graham, who by that time suffered from Alzheimer's disease, called for me. She gave me a few jewels of wisdom, and then she asked why I didn't bring Mike to see her. My brothers and sister hurt through me as well. They realized I never truly shook back from losing Mike. I faced a few losses and love since then, some gratifying, some horrific. I carried the baggage with me for the longest until I remember Mike and what he represented to me. And no matter what, I deserve to be loved. The end. The end. That's it. It's over. That's the book. That's it. It's over. It deserves to be loved. That was the book. That was it. It's over. Y'all welcome. Love y'all. I love y'all. I know I deserve to be loved, and I feel like I feel the love. I love y'all. I love y'all. I love y'all so much. I really do. I love y'all. I love y'all. I love y'all. I love you. Thank you, Sis Marie. I love y'all. Thank y'all so much. Thank you. Thank y'all so much. I feel I love you. I love y'all. I love you. I love y'all so. I love you too. Love you too. I love y'all. I love you too. Danny, I love all y'all. I love you. What's going on, Alex? What you got? And I love you. Really, Kiki? I love you. Thank you so much. I'm glad you did recover, sweetheart. I love you. I would love to. Oh my God, thank y'all so much. Thank you, Miss J. I love you. I'm crying for you. I love you, boo. May God bless you. Peace. You can. I love you. You deserve people love too, sweetheart. I do love you. I love y'all so much. I love y'all so much. Oh, thank y'all so much. Thank you. I love y'all. I love y'all. I love y'all. Thank you. Thank y'all for allowing me to share part of my little life with y'all. Thank you so much. Y'all don't have to take y'all time out. Y'all don't have to support. Y'all don't have to do nothing. But I thank y'all so much. I thank y'all so much. I just thank y'all so much. You don't have to do none of that. And I thank y'all. I thank y'all so much because I really do love y'all. Thank you so much. I love you. Thank you so much, Kim. Thank you, all y'all. Thank you, Sip Nation. I love y'all. Y'all don't have to. There's so many people out there y'all could support. They deserve y'all. But I just thank y'all because y'all don't have to give me nothing, and I really appreciate it. And I love y'all so much. I really do. Good night. I just gotta go out. Good night, y'all. I love